Hey, everybody. Welcome to Comic Book Curation. I am Polly, and joining me, as always, is Inquisitor 8.1 Quiz. How are you doing this week?
Astartes part 4 came out, and it's fucking awesome. Everyone should check it out after the show, of course. It's only 2 minutes.
Okay, Jack. From Bad Comic Reviews, rounding out our triumvirate of awesome, is someone else that I also believe doesn't know what the hell Quiz is talking about. How are you doing this week?
I'm doing pretty well. How about yourself?
I am oddly optimistic, actually. Good comic came out today. I'm pretty happy about. It's New Comic Book Day, Wednesday, of course. I've got a shiny new avatar, as everyone can see. It's only slightly different, but it's shinier and more 3D. What else am I happy about? Because I got... God, I read a really depressing comic last night, but it reminded me of something, that a good writer can write a bad comic, and this was before the SJW times. So what that meant for me was, see, it wasn't always great. not everything that came before now was awesome. You understand what I mean? Like it.
Yes, but at the same time, I think those moments where they were bad were few and far between.
I don't know, man. I think there were entire misbegotten universes, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I guess.
Talking about your favorite new universe there, Jack. What a misbegotten abortion that shit was.
I liked New Universe.
I know, so did I. I'm just bugging you.
And even then, even when something was bad, it was generally still better than today's because stuff happened. Now,
things did happen. It's true.
15 pages of people sitting around eating coffee at a coffee shop, eating like little lemon wedges, talking about their nonsense self-validation is tiresome and not worth $4. But for 75 cents an issue, I could get a couple of New Universe titles for the price of that coffee shop experience.
You know what?
I prefer to eat my coffee, thank you.
Well, no, but I mean, you're not talking shit right now. You've got, like what you said, there's a lot of gold in it, because it's like, okay, you go out there, you buy a comic. It's not the greatest thing in the world. You file it away in your long box, short box, whatever it is you're using. You don't feel the sting and the pain of $3.99 for an issue. That's painful for a bad comic. $3.99 is, well, assuming that it's not like one of the infinite number ones that keep coming out and it's $4.99, $5.99, right?
Yeah. Dropping half a 10 for a shit comic is a little bit harder to do.
I mean, like, chat, you want to get really fucked up, go to one of the online inflation calculators and take a look at the cover price of a comic, like from back in the day, like pick a year, like 1988, 1996, 2002, whatever it was they were charging, and see how much it would be in current year. Like type in the month and the year. It's nowhere near. That's not keeping up with inflation. Like the price has dramatically spiked. There's a huge premium on those things. And paper's cheaper now than it was back then.
Yeah, now adjusted for inflation, it'd be like $2.50, but paper's way cheaper now.
Yeah. It is. And people are quick to say, very, very quick to say, well, yes, but they're using higher grade paper, which they are. They're using glossier paper, but that paper's cheaper. Like all pulp is far cheaper by a process now than it was back then. Because tree farms, environmentalists, calm down. It's actually, most paper comes from tree farms, not new trees that are cut down. Bet you didn't know that. In your face, vegans. And the other thing is that you know about this, Jack, them acquiring the printing process for gradient coloring and such.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, once they acquired that cost has worked itself out. I remember that as a justification back in the day for the increased price in comics. It's like, well, we got this beautiful new color that you get to behold. And it's like, yeah, but you've long since paid for the acquisition of that technology.
Yeah, actually, for a while, Marvel was getting their comics published by Malibu through their color processing because they had the most advanced technology. That's actually why they bought Malibu, was to get their computer systems.
Yeah. Yeah. And I'll admit, I'm somebody who loves I hear people complain about the gradient coloring and especially the blur effects. For things that are in motion or things that are further behind, you can use blurring in the printing process for all kinds of things. When they're used badly, yeah, they're bad. When they're used effectively, they're fucking awesome. So, I have a nostalgic love for the dot printing. Don't get me wrong. Newsprint and dot printing, there's nothing quite like it. But I don't know. The short version of our story here is that comics are dramatically overpriced, so it really burns you when the comic sucks.
Yeah, and what really makes me mad is that Marvel Comics paper quality has actually gotten worse than it was in the 80s. They're using really cheap ink and really cheap paper. And the cover quality is the same as the interior pages, which is why you get ink on your hands occasionally. And that just really burns me because it's such an insult.
I remember that actually happening back in the day with some of my issues, that if I would hold on to the comic, but like, you would have, you'd be flipping with, like, if you're right-handed, you'd basically hold on to the comic with your right hand and you'd be doing the flipping with your left. So your right hand, your three fingers you're basically holding it with are in the same damn spot. And so they don't move for the 15 minutes that you're reading the comic or more, and then you would leave a fingerprint on the comic. You know what I'm talking about? But you would have to hold on to it for a really long time. When we talk about ink coming off Marvel Comics now, it's immediate. Like, you can rub it off with one stroke.
Yeah, and back then it was more because that's how newsprint works. It's, you hold a newspaper for long enough, you'll get ink on your fingers. So when they do that now, there's no excuse for it. They've got better printing techniques with higher quality inks, better quality paper that would easily fix these problems, but they don't do that. They're using the cheapest gutter ink that I'm pretty sure is manufactured somewhere for henna, because it doesn't wash off your hands.
Nice.
I feel like I'm going to an Indian wedding.
Well, with the experience of that sort of thing happening, it says to me that these the ink they're using is powder ink, because that shit doesn't dry very easy, and it's already a bad investment, because powder ink, if you smush two pages together that are printed with powder ink, chances are they're going to run into each other.
Yeah. I have used better printer ink than what they're using.
Yeah, but not cheaper.
yeah, it's true. But yeah, they might as well just be making fanzines from the 80s.
Yeah, man.
It's insultingly bad. And Marvel needs to get their shit together, or they're going to destroy the entire industry.
Well, it's funny you say that, because something that's going to come up in terms of looking at some numbers here, and don't worry, they're not graphs and figures and shit. I will leave that area of the YouTube game to Tug. Nobody can one-up him at quarterly analysis. But when we look at some numbers and stuff, we're going to talk about, like, the industry, as I joked last night on Monkey in the Morning, being held up with construction paper and baling wire. It's like, it's not good, it seems. But Ryan Rawlings reminded me of my thumbnail. He said, Polly, you made a thumbnail. I did indeed make a thumbnail. Would you like to see it, guys?
Of course.
There it is.
Sharon Carter.
No.
Shh. Leave this to me.
So Sharon Carter, that's Jack's guess. You got any guesses there, Quiz?
Hang on.
Quit zooming in.
You can't tell by the boobs.
No, I have no idea. I can't really read it.
Carol Danvers.
That's Carol Danvers.
Oh. What does it say on her boob then? It doesn't say.
It says Captain Danvers, but the image is mirrored, so it actually says, Sanvers Tick Cook or whatever.
Tap.
The image was reversed for aesthetic necessity for the thumbnail. But that is no other than Carol Danvers, chat. I mean, would you believe that? Like, I mean, this is Brie Larson could have been playing this character right here.
No, she couldn't.
This is Carol Danvers back when she was cool, and they've ruined that by making her into some sort of androgynous weirdo.
Yeah, I honestly just couldn't resist when I came across this image, I'm like, oh, that's just too fucking perfect. I mean, okay, first things first, Jack, take a wild guess and quiz. Who drew this?
Hmm.
Now remember, I'm the one who chose it. So who drew this?
Frank Miller.
No. Come on. Does that look like Frank?
That does
Miller?
not
No,
look
but
like Frank
you
Miller.
said you chose it, so I was like, oh,
No, I know, but
Frank Miller.
that should be a pretty strong hint.
Jim Lee.
No.
Dead
David
Air.
Finch. David Finch.
Oh,
Finch,
nice.
yeah.
Yeah. And it's like, of course, when David Finch decides to draw Carol Danvers, he makes her look fucking awesome and sexy and powerful and cool. Like,
So patriarchal.
whatever. Yeah, I was about to say, like, you know, you is that really patriarchal? Like, I could see whatchamacallit getting what?
Oh, go ahead.
I was gonna say I could see Mary Sue getting all over this. Of course, when you know you only think a woman's powerful, you know, when she looks like a man, basically, it's like no, when she's not sitting there screaming about feminism. As a matter of fact, the page that this is coming from, she's in a really big take charge moment. The reason she's standing there with two guns is because she just walked into the room expecting everybody to be ready to go and everyone's standing around sniveling, and she's like, what the fuck, are we gonna go get this fight on or what? Like, you know, and that's why she's got all the guns.
Well,
No,
all I
see-
gotta say is someone standing around with an underslung grenade launcher M16 and an MP5 doesn't know very much about going into a battle situation. I would like to see her hit anything while dual wielding those weapons.
Well, no one said she was going
superpowers
to
or
dual wield
not.
them. I think she was on the way to her transport. She was clearly going to set one of them down and bring as many guns as you can.
No. See, what was happening was she was going to fill the air with lead so that it would chase all the bad guys out of the room so she could use the knife on her hip to make sandwiches for the crew.
Yeah.
Nice. In any case, the this is from an alt universe of like the Marvel universe, where Carol Danvers is an agent of S.H.I.E.L.D. rather than being
That's super.
being part Kree. Actually, she is still supposed to be part Kree, but her powers don't come to her in the same way. So but that doesn't make her any less of a badass. So there you go. It's like, yeah, I don't know. It's almost like we should mail images from that comic daily tour. It's like, you could have been this cool. Instead, you went for the, you know.
Oh, no. She'd be like, look at
Whatever
those
it is.
palaces I'm holding. Oh, my God.
Yeah, let's take a look at the page that that's from, actually. There it is right there. See, she walks in the room and it's like, she's telling these guys off because they're, see, Captain Danvers, there it is. These men were just doing their jobs. I've got a tidal wave in Manhattan. Eastern Europe's been flash frozen. Volcanoes erupting in the Amazon. And I can't have you, because they're all sitting around whining, right? Fucking awesome. Yep, she's in charge and badass. So there it is. I mean, think about it, chat. This could have been Captain Marvel, but no, we had to go full feminism, didn't we?
I'm still standing by my my thing about there's no universe where Carol Danvers is cool.
I
Sorry.
beg to differ. Are you chat? Can I get a 1 if this is cool and a 2 if this is not? I mean,
sexy, maybe. Confident, eh.
Well, I think the problem is that your image of her has been clouded over 10 years of social nonsense from these.
I never liked her from the get-go, dude. I thought she was a terrible character.
See, I always liked Miss Marvel, but
I didn't like Miss Marvel at all. I thought it was a brilliant idea getting rid of her by making her powers rogues.
Rogue always to me will be old lady Rogue with the short hair and the skunk stripes. No,
it was a phase she went through in the 80s, Jack.
Yep, a phase of being a bitch.
She was a villain, yes.
Yeah, it's the short hair, man. It was such a killer. Like, you look really old.
Yeah, they drew her with really bad, like, age lines too.
Yeah.
Number one nowhere says she seems bossy. It's because one of the reasons that she is taking on the leadership is because when she walked in, Steve Rogers was knocked the fuck out and unconscious. So she's like, you know, the leader's down. Obviously, someone's got to take charge. And so she starts taking charge.
You know what that sounds like to me? Megatron has fallen. Starscream is in charge.
It works. It works on so many levels.
No, I don't. No, it's all right. I don't.
I was gonna say, yeah, no one. I sincerely hope you're not from the UK. You could get drawn up for on charges there for calling a woman bossy. Oof.
This that comic is from what we were talking about before we went live. That's from Ultimatum.
Really? That's from Ultimatum.
Yeah.
Huh.
That's what I was. That's what I was reading last night. It was like, wow, I forgot that. Like even drawn by David Finch, the art is spectacular. The whole thing's drawn by Finch, but it's the story is so fuckered that you know what the hell.
Good art cannot save a bad story. Just the same way that great story cannot save bad art.
Yeah, you need a harmony. Yeah,
you at least need mediocrity of one of them for the other one to save it. It has to be at least an average story or average art, and the other one could be spectacular. But you can't have one being terrible and the other being like at least good. It doesn't work. It's the worst. The weakest one has to be mediocre.
And before I forget, if you just arrived, by all means, please hit that like button. And if you are so inclined, by all means, all of our Twitter handles are below, where you can follow us, and by all means like and share the tweet that we sent out. It will tell others where you are and what you're listening to and how interesting it is.
Yeah. If I can add on to that, if you'd like to give me money, there's my Streamlabs. I like money. Lets me buy more comics.
Yeah, right.
So speaking of money, well, let's just let's get into how much money Dark Phoenix didn't make. Might as well go, you know, tear the Band-Aid off, as Quiz says. X-Men Dark Phoenix flames out at the box office. Jesus Christ, pounding.
Headline.
I went with the stream title of like what everyone expected. It bombed. I wasn't willing to do some, you know, bad play on words like this, but you know, I leave that to the journalists. It's a short article. Then again, so's the run of this film going to be. 20th Century Fox and Disney's X-Men Dark Phoenix, flamed out at the box office. The film brought in 32.8 mil. Oh my God. I didn't know that was the number. That's its opening box office weekend.
Yeah, it's bad.
That's rough. Remember when we were talking about if Captain Marvel, like, oh man, it's going to bomb. It's going to pull in 70 or 80 max. Remember that?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
God, this pulled in 32.8 million at the domestic box office in its opening weekend. It has fared better in the global market. Okay, with 103.7 million. Okay, cool. Like, I mean, because it's like that, like just 32, like that would have been. So you're closing up shop and mailing everybody the stuff from their desks, huh?
Now, how much money did they spend on this movie total?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because I bet they paid at least $50 million to film it, and then you're looking at another $100 million just to market it. So they might break even on this.
The opening weekend box office haul of 32.8 was the worst domestic opening weekend of an X-Men film ever done. The previous one was The Wolverine, which brought in 53.1. The Wolverine wasn't bad. It was well-intentioned.
But that's the one with Deadpool where his mouth was sewn shut.
No, that's Origins.
No.
That's
Origins? All right.
Yeah.
The Wolverine is where he was in Japan. I actually thought that one was pretty good.
Let's see. Disney expected the film would bring in 45 million on opening weekend. It definitely didn't hit that mark. In fact, it vastly underperformed. Making matters worse, the movie has horrible critic and audience scores. The Rotten Tomatoes critic score. Who cares? Rotten Tomatoes fuckered. We all know it. It's bullshit now. It's all lies. it's you understand what I'm saying here? Like, am I the only one that just rolls their eyes when they hear Rotten Tomatoes said that? Who cares?
They have a disassociation with the truth.
Well, all right. Has a critic score that currently sits at 23%. The more important all audience score sits at 61%. The movie also received a B- at Cinema Score. This means the film might not have legs after its opening weekend. And new reports indicate that the film might lose between 100 million and 120 million. You need to cite something like that, buddy. Yeah. Oh, there it is right beneath it. Deadline reports finance experts tell us that the tale of Jean Grey will burn out with an estimated $100 to $120 million loss after ancillaries, off a combined production and P&A estimated cost of $350 million plus, which includes the reshoots. Fuck me.
That's insane. What a waste of money. $350 million? That's going to be a bigger bomb than John Carter was. And that was actually a fun movie.
John Carter was a fun movie. I agree. It was. I didn't love it, but I enjoyed it. Like, you know.
Yeah, it was fun. It was a nice rehashing of an old book that inspired like Star Wars.
Check your logic is right. Pilly Dub is wrong, whoever that fucking guy is. Projected totals for the
the film. Pilly Dub guy.
Well, I don't know. I've heard rumors about him, but that fucker best not show his face around these parts. Projected totals for the film indicate it will earn between 300 million and 325 million. However, one finance expert told Deadline, quote, if it drops like a stone, 285 million. Don't forget it was a holiday in China, and even that was pretty low at 45.7. Jesus
the fact
Christ.
that it's a holiday should have helped it. Unless everything was closed, which is pretty unlikely, should have helped.
No, check your logic. I realized Diesel Dave said it. I get it. That was the joke I was running off of. I was riffing off of your joke, man. Shit. Did you speaking of interaction with chat, did you guys watch Young Ripper 59's stream last night?
No, I don't really watch this channel.
No. So he's streaming and I don't know. He's got this interaction with his chat where he can like tell them off and shit. Like certain ones, like he tells like, oh, you guys go fuck yourself. He never does that. But if somebody in the chat starts fucking with him, he will call him out and fuck with him. And this one, he's talking about the current issues of Spider-Man that are currently being published. Jack, were you here? Were you there when I was talking about this on Monkey in the Morning?
Probably not.
No? Okay. I remember telling this story last night, now that I'm thinking about it. So he's just talking about these are the issues of Spider-Man that are currently being published and how hard it is for somebody to go into a comic book shop and know what to buy. It's overwhelming, that sort of thing, you know? And he says, so what are they? You know, you got a Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. He goes, and then there's, you know, Superior Spider-Man, but that's not really Peter Parker. That's Dr. Octopus. But anyway, it goes on listing. And then there's this guy in chat that says, yeah, but Superior Spider-Man is really Doc Ock. And this is like 2 minutes later that this chat goes up. Ripper59 says, dude, I said that. Go back and listen. And the guy types in, no, you didn't. And this started like a 10-minute back and forth between them.
Oh my God.
That ended with Ripper saying, my DMs are open. You fucking mail me a picture of your fucking long boxes. I want to see them. You don't own as many comics as me.
And you know what? With that moment of internet badassitude here, I figured I would come in and do this. There's my Streamlabs link.
Nice.
Nice. So it didn't end like on an angry note. It was like, just don't try and come in here and tell me something when I goddamn well said it. Don't call me out on something that I goddamn well know. I don't talk about things that I don't know. If I don't know, I say I don't know. But when I've said it, you tell me that I haven't, and then you start telling me that I don't know comics at all. And like,
I fucking hate people that jump in and try and destroy your nerd cred. You either know your material or you don't. And we all do make mistakes, but sitting there trying to be internet badass by saying, first of all, that you didn't say something you just said.
Yeah.
But devolving into who's got more comics, that's your argument's already, it's gone way beyond. Just move on with your day.
Especially because a lot of what goes on with him, according to him, is like, I can't stand when I say something and I've got, the same 5, 10, 15 people that are Googling everything that I say and checking up on it on databases and then trying to correct me in the chat. And it's like, why are you even doing that? Yeah, I don't need Google. I talk off the top of my head because I know comics, and if I know them. And if I'm off by one issue number, then I'm off by one issue number. What are you getting out of trying to, out Google people? What the fuck is the point in that? And it's like, yeah, I definitely hear you there. What the fuck is the point in that?
It's just people being douchebags and trying to get one up on you. I don't understand the point in it. You either get the gist of what someone's saying or you don't. And if they get something factually wrong, it's generally not a huge deal. They're not trying to be 100% factually accurate. They're trying to convey a point. And you're getting caught up in the nuance of it. And you're just doing it for a gotcha. It's some sort of weird self-esteem validation thing. Like, haha, I'm smarter than you because I can Googles.
I mean, what is it? Like the desire to one-up somebody that's got, the amount of times that guy that I've personally heard him and Tug or Chris over on Comic Tropes, somebody will ask them something and they'll say, oh, I've never read that character. I don't know. Like, shit, that happens. It happens here. You know what I mean? Like anybody who kind of claims to be literally an encyclopedia of comic book knowledge, I mean, you're kind of setting yourself up for that. But if nobody's doing that, why are you trying to, info check them on a regular basis like that if they're not making a huge issue out of something they said? I just don't understand it.
The fact checkers are people that we used to have a term for back in the old days. It was called virgins. They really need to get something called vagina in their lives.
The weird part about it is too, it's like I can understand the sort of the whole, getting upset about, getting your nerd cred questioned as well. But to me, if I say something wrong, I'm okay with people correcting me. And I'll retract and or correct it. But at the same time, there's some people that are just so righteously indignant about it, saying, someone's wrong on the internet.
That never happens. Reptilians are real. Oh.
Get a life, dude. That's all I gotta say.
Yeah, get a fucking hobby other than read some comics instead of fact checking someone on comics.
Mm-hmm. And besides, it's there's the strange impetus about it too. It's like, why are you even doing that? Are you doing it because you want to be right, or are you trying to discredit someone? And that, toss up about which is which is where, unfortunately, some of the people that are on the social justice side may have at least the slightest modicum of a point. But I don't think it's happening nearly as often as some of the people that are, on that spew that kind of stuff actually say it is, I don't know.
Yeah, no, I agree.
What the fuck?
It's the sort of thing is like, they run with a concept that's, can be provable and then just, make it nuts. I don't know. It's stupid.
I'm reading through. So this is a different article, same kind of topic, over on Bounding about flame out of Dark Phoenix. Men in Black international Rotten Tomato score is chilling next to X-Men Dark Phoenix in a dumpster fire.
Well, I could have told them Men in Black International was a terrible idea that's not going to make any money. Look at how bad the last two were.
Well, I mean, it's just like, of course they remade it. Of course they did. Like, guys in suits, guns, alien jokes, CGI. What? But I was just reading through some of the comments here. This article is just a collection of critics' blurbs, right? And some of their blurbs are just like, why did you write this? Eric Cohn at IndieWire gives the film a D+. That's not good, right? Obviously. He writes, of course, Thompson, meaning the female lead, right, should star in as many big Hollywood movies as it takes to rejuvenate the Hollywood star system and to ensure more women anchor the biggest franchises in play. What?
Yeah.
Why did you write that? Like, I'm going to trash this movie, but it co-stars a black woman. So I'm going to say something super positive here. Even though I'm ripping the film a new one.
Because we need representation, Polly, even in bad movies.
Yeah,
apparently.
there's talk that they're going to change the name for the sequel from Men in Black to like Persons in Black or something like that.
Woe Man in Black.
Yeah, men and women in black. Because I guess there's a lot of like hidden social justice stuff in this one.
Oh God.
And by hidden, I mean blatantly obvious.
And it's
fucking.
I don't even get this. Like it's like rejuvenate Hollywood star system. Hollywood is nothing but a system of A-list actors and fighting to put them on the A-list. What are you talking about? What does that even mean?
That doesn't have to mean anything. They just virtue signal. That's all it is. This movie's gonna be terrible.
Well, it obviously is, but it just.
Well, Chris Hemsworth is actually a good actor and he's funny. I maintain that he is this generation's Brad Pitt. But the messaging crap is getting out of hand and it's hurting actors because their movies are tanking because the stuff is boring.
And I understand that's only IndieWire and who gives a fuck. Yeah, I hear you. Eric Cohn, go fuck yourself. But William Blablani at The Wrap, whatever the fuck, gives the film a positive review. He says, gone is the social commentary, and in its place is a globetrotting sci-fi super spy adventure, empty but entertaining. Well, there was social commentary in the first Men in Black films?
Maybe in the
kind of. The
Was there?
Yeah, the first one had like subtext of immigration.
Okay.
Like, with the dudes and integrating into humanity, living in plain sight, sort of thing. It's aliens being a euphemism for people fucking immigrating to the US. It's just that it wasn't filled with this whole social justice aspect of it. It was the assimilation.
I love it when I hear this comment every time that someone reviews something anywhere near the summer. Dan Meck at the film stage gives it a 75. He writes, "This is breezy stuff, a welcome respite in the hot summer months." My God.
That was just fluff.
Like you couldn't think of anything more positive to say than that? Like at least you don't have to stand in the sun. Like,
you get paid by the word. You got to pad these articles. Mike says the best. Back in the 90s, they weren't as in your face about shit and they knew how to do it correctly. And I agree with him on that because, yeah, there was messaging in the first one, but it was subtle. It wasn't like beating you in the face like I'm a woman in black, thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that's enough of that. Here's a non sequitur, but something that I couldn't. Well, it's a non sequitur related to the subject of our channel, but who gives a fuck, right? Facebook bans the word honk. What?
Because of Honkler. And,
well, yeah, I know, but
apparently.
But what? I mean, it's for the honkler, the honk no state. It's a clown world, etc. But you banned the word honk.
I am now going to actually log into Facebook for the first time in like 2 years and write how I had to honk at some guy that cut me off in traffic, and then file a complaint when they ban that.
Okay, so let's just read the explanation why. Because I'm just saying, the whole point in clown world, if you don't get the meme, it would probably take too long to explain. But when you ban the word honk, you're like that's too meta and ironic for me to accept. Like that's some clown world shit. Are you fucking serious? Anyway,
yeah, honk. We could change it to beep beep.
Here we are. Yeah, beep beep. Exactly. Zero Hedge reports that Facebook is removing the word honk from its platform. Twitter user Garbharm posted a screenshot of a Facebook notification indicating that the word honk was removed because it doesn't follow Facebook's community standards. We removed something you posted. It looks like something you posted doesn't fit our community standards. Honk. It's unclear whether it's unclear how the word honk violates Facebook's community standards. But it's possible it could be an attempt to censor people who have adopted the clown world meme. As defined by the Urban Dictionary, clown world is, quote, a phrase used to describe the current state of affairs in regards to the world, usually socially or politically. The word is employed as a state of something that is ridiculous or nonsensical in a way that only this could be real in a world run by clowns. They banned the word.
That's pretty good. That's pretty good.
It's like some reverse psychology bullshit. It's like everybody went around saying, posting constantly, Mark Zuckerberg is a great guy. And he insisted that it be changed to Mark Zuckerberg as a cocksucker or something just to spite them, Like it's I'm a nice guy. How dare you? Alt-writers are saying that? Well, have it autocorrect if Zuckerberg's a cocksucker then. I'll show them. It wouldn't be the first time the social media company has targeted people who are using memes to make political or social points. Twitter infamously banned people for tweeting out learn to code. Of course they did. That's right. Twitter would admit they made mistakes regarding learned code. Via Twitter's foreign Gaddy admitted there were for sure mistakes in there. I don't think that any of us were claiming we got it 100% right. Twitter ostensible CEO Jack Dorsey said we were probably way too aggressive when we first saw this and made mistakes. How after making these statements, Twitter is still banning and suspending users who use the phrase learn to code. Learn to honk code honk. What happens then? Like your computer just explodes in your face.
Yeah. No, they start releasing all of your information to the Zimbabwe scammers, asking for money for their was it their royal family or whatever.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
That would be Nigeria.
Nigeria. All right.
Yeah, Nigerian royal family. The I think about it with the stuff that's going on YouTube with the bannings and the whole thing around Crowder and Carlos Matzabal.
Is he Jewish?
They have the autumn. What's that?
Carlos Matzabal.
Yeah.
He's Jewish?
No, not even remotely. His name's Carlos Maza, but I was watching a Blair White video, and during the whole video, she kept mistakenly calling him Carlos Matza. And I couldn't stop giggling, like it was the stupidest, most childish joke to be laughing at, because she wasn't even trying to joke. She just kept fucking up. And I just kept thinking, you realize you keep calling him like a Jewish delicacy over and over again?
Delicacy, come on.
Good matzo ball soup is delicious.
Oh man, I dated a Jewish girl and it was disgusting.
What? Dude, it's homemade chicken broth with giant dumplings. What's the problem?
Dumplings with no fucking yeast in them, so they taste like dry, fucking disgusting, gritty garbage.
Your ex-girlfriend's inability to cook is not our fault.
I'm with Quiz on
saying,
this
man,
one. Those things are gross.
They are. I don't even know Jews that like matzah, man.
No, you guys are wrong. It's fine. Anyway, there's good and bad stuff about everything, forms of everything. I mean, you never had a shitty cheeseburger in your life? I have. It doesn't mean cheeseburgers are shitty. Come on, think about it.
Well, I don't know, man. I mean, how hard is it to fuck up a cheeseburger? I mean,
well, I don't know. I've been to some corner joints, man, they've managed to fuck it up pretty good. Anyway,
You need to stop going to greasy spoons in the 1950s.
Dude, I even had
All time travel when I damn well please. Thank you very much.
No frosted glass. No. I'm starting to not like being on this receiving end of this stuff, man.
If you'd like to submit to his Streamlabs quiz,
he'll need it for his legal defense fund.
Yeah, probably. Yeah.
Oh fuck! Excuse me. Here we are. Spider-Woman is back in her original costume with Strikeforce. Now, I'm not usually one to point out some oversized boobage, but that's some oversized boobage.
Yeah, she's especially considering she got her hands up. So, like, you got to think them hangers when she's got her hands down. She's gonna have some back problems, man.
Now, okay, at least she looks like a woman, though. There's curves, there's boobs. Yeah. She's wearing her original costume. There's a lot to be said for what's going on in that picture. Just because her boobs are totally unrealistic and mildly grossly big is the least of the problems I have with Marvel right now. I'm just glad that she's in the costume and she looks feminine there.
Jesus.
And keep going. That picture's hideous.
I happen to really like the old red suit. I looked cute as hell in it anyway.
No.
Teeny Howard.
No, you didn't.
Well, I'm just going to leave that one without comment. Okay, as the story goes on, it's been some time since Jessica Drew. God, there's a name I haven't heard in a while. Holy fuck, huh? Anyway, Jessica Drew took the spotlight as Spider-Woman, but she'll be back in action come this September, returning to her espionage roots as part of Marvel's ruthless new Black Ops team, Strikeforce, from writer Teeny Howard and artist German. What?
No, I was just making a disgust noise. Teeny Howard's a terrible writer.
Okay. And artist German Peralta, yes. Ooh. But her old lifestyle isn't all back on the table. She's back in her old duds as well. That classic Silver Age costume designed by Marie Severin that Jessica wore as Spider-Woman as Spider-Woman until 2017 when she donned a popular updated version of that look designed by Chris Unka, as seen on the right. Oh God.
Not popular.
Look at that. Look at that one. That was popular. No,
it looks too much like Catwoman's outfit with the goggles.
Yeah.
Bluntly spoken, I'm okay with superheroes wearing goggles and glasses and all that stuff. Like, I think it works, but like this, what is with this?
It's hideous. The whole thing is a combination looks terrible.
And she's got like the triangle on her neck. It makes it look like it's ski wear, or like mountaineering equipment or something.
So she can press it and talk to the Enterprise.
Right.
The reason why she has the triangle above her breasts and then the fanning out below her breasts is because it's the hourglass shape that's on the belly of a Black Widow spider.
Yeah, I get that.
But I get that. What's with the one on the neck? That makes no sense.
Well, okay, but what's with the one on her belt?
Yeah, okay. Fair point.
It's a shitty costume quiz. That's what we're joking about right now. I mean, I dig the gloves with the different colored fingers, and you want to wear a mock neck or a turtleneck or whatever in the goggles. Okay, that's cool. But this design, man, this is balls, dude. Anyway, Jessica Drew, it was asked by, this is Kyle in chat. Who is it? My nerd credit shit. She's the original Spider-Woman from back in the day. You can't have a Spider-Woman without a Spider-Man, and you can't have if you've got a Superwoman, you're going to have a Superman, because some comic creators' imaginations don't spread that far. The idea of a gender opposite is common. Anyway, Jessica Drew in the Marvel Universe was always Spider-Woman for a long time. But then, as we're going to talk about, a certain Gwen Stacy took over that role. But we'll get there in a second. We will get there in a second. The change has sparked people to come down on both sides of the issue. Some applauding a return to her classic form, others lamenting the loss of Anka's more progressive design.
It's not progressive. It's just new, and it's not good. So
see, this is the thing. I'm going to tell you a true story of what just happened here. When I read has sparked, people have come down on both sides of the issue applauding, and I'm like, where am I reading Newsarama? That's why my eyes jerked up to see where I was reading it, because it's like, I don't believe that anyone was arguing anywhere over this at all. Who said that? Oh, Newsarama said that. Right. So they paid you, you shill bastards, to make it sound like somebody actually gave a fuck to generate some interest around a comic that's not selling that well.
Well, hang on. I've got a Streamlabs here from Fatty057 for $10. More Jewish hangers.
Jesus. All right. Then.
Thank you.
However, Strikeforce series writer Howard was quick to allay these fans' fears, taking to her personal Twitter to express her love for the Jessica Drew character and for her original costume, which the writer herself even once cosplayed. Yeah, that's it. So the whole story is, hey, motherfuckers, pay attention. This is an attempt to build awareness. Newsarama, guys, like, to call them a show website, I don't think that that's correct, because shilling usually means this is an awareness building marketing tool disguised as a news service.
Before you click off that story, scroll down and click on the cover picture of the team for Strikeforce.
Okay.
No, notice who's on this team. Winter
Blade.
Soldier, Blade, Spider-Woman, and I think that's Angela.
Is that Angela?
No, yeah, it is, because she's got the ribbons. Yeah.
And the star up there would represent that it's probably the son of Satan is on the team. This is the most patchwork fucking team on the planet. These people have no associations together.
Yeah, that's fucked up, dude. What the hell?
That's odd that they're pulling Son of Satan. Are you sure Son of Satan's in this? That's like
that's his star up there. So.
The
pentagram.
It's a lot of things. Yeah, okay.
Well, I think that's what they're alluding to. Marvel lacks subtlety. You got to remember. So you'd be reading into it too much to say it's not him.
That's
but
ridiculous.
This is a weird team. If you wanted a real Strikeforce, you would swap out Blade for like Punisher, and get rid of Angela for original Valkyrie, even though they killed her. So.
Mike Parlett says Blade is sagging. Yeah, he is.
Yeah,
his torso looks really weird, but it's just such a bizarre team. It reminds me of the old Defenders. But the writer on here is Teenie Howard, and she is awful. So they're taking a bunch of C-listers that could make an interesting team, maybe. We don't really know. They're supposed to be like the deadliest people. Where's Frank Castle? Second of all, why are they giving all these characters that are pretty well known to somebody as shit-tastic as Teenie Howard? This is a cash grab. This is not going to have any chance of being good. They're going to take the concept and shit all over it, and it'll be them sitting around talking about their feelings in a cafe. It's going to be awful. I'm really irritated by the whole thing, because I like all these characters except Angela. I don't really know who that is.
She's better in Spawn.
Yeah, she was.
But since they brought her over in Marvel, I missed all that crap, thankfully, but I've never heard anything good. And why she isn't replaced with somebody more well-known is a little beyond me. There's some great characters in Marvel, and having a weird team like this could be good, but it reminds me too much of Damnation from Nick Spencer. And you know how that triggers me, because I hate him.
You know what?
I'm confused by this whole thing.
I am starting to blame more and more and more on editors.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Like editorial direction, editorial control, like in terms of, look, here's what we're plotting out as the story arc over the next while, or sitting down with your writers to plot out a story arc for the next number of issues or whatever. And then editorial feedback issue to issue. You understand what I'm talking about here?
Yeah.
And I want to hunt down verifiable numbers, and that's the key word there, verifiable numbers that Marvel, what percentage of Marvel's profits they actually get from trade paperbacks.
Oh, they make a lot off trade paperbacks.
Everyone says that, right?
Yeah.
And I am willing to believe it. I'm open to believing it. It wouldn't take much to convince me, but I want a verifiable number. Where's that coming from? Because I've heard as much as 80% and I've heard 60% of the money that Marvel brings in, chat, for what we're talking about here, are collected editions of comics rather than regular comics. Why that matters is because it comes down to a lot of the editorial decision making of what's going on with stories. Stories are paced not to come out in 23-page floppies, like 23-page comics monthly. They're paced for the length of the trade paperback. So you'll get to the end of a comic and it's like, it just kind of ends and it leaves you feeling blah. Like there's no to be continued, or there's no beginning, middle, and end of the story, because the writer wrote it to be paced towards the length of a trade paperback, somewhat 60 to 90 pages. You see what I'm saying? Like, and I would like an editor, if I was like a CB Sobolski, who's the EIC editor in chief over at Marvel, if I heard an editor saying, no, change this around, it won't go good in the trade paperback, I'd be right behind him with what the fuck did you just say?
Well, that's not going to happen because Marvel has staked its claim on their future is in the trades. So
if that's the case, it renders floppies like, okay, you can't expect salty motherfuckers on the internet like us to not say fuck you and your floppies then, because they're shit. We'll wait for the fucking trades. We might as well illegally pirate digital copies of your floppies as they come out and buy the trades.
Yeah. That's what a lot of people do.
I won't even bother pirating them. It's not going to be worth it because most of the time you could flip through the trade at the store and decide if it's even worth it to even buy it. I wouldn't even bother because most of Marvel's such trash now that you could just take a bet that if it came out in trade paperback, that it's probably not worth it. Yeah, and let me address something Ryan brought up in chat, is that Blade doesn't really fit with these. He's better off with like Ghost Rider and Morbius and that. They did that in the 90s with the Midnight Suns lines. You had Ghost Rider and Blaze Night Stalkers, which had Hannibal King and Blade on the team. And Morbius was his own thing, and those were kind of connected with Darkhold and some of the others, and they crossed over with each other, but they kind of stayed to their own a lot. That was much better handled. I don't think Blade works well on a team of non-supernatural characters. He works better either as a solo character or on a team with like Ghost Rider and the Night Stalkers and stuff like that. That's why I find this weird. It's a weird pairing. But yeah, for back to what you were saying, I think that Marvel is just focusing on trades because they know that they could get it in more bookstores and more orientation like that. Amazon, it sells better. They can't sell floppies through Amazon very well. Right. That's just where they've put all their eggs. They've put them all into that basket and said, this is where we're going to make our real money. And that's why the quality of the floppies is so bad, because they don't give a shit. They're just going to flood the market and try and boost their IP numbers. That's it.
You know, see, this was the joke about the industry's held up by cardboard and baling wire. Mm-hmm. What I mean by that is Marvel has to produce shipment numbers. Chat, if y'all don't know, because we talk about this all the time, Comicron is a way that everybody is a website and a indexing service that lists the amount of comics shipped, not sold, shipped, because this is how many are shipped to stores to sell and to distribution centers to sell. How many of those actually get sold? Well, let's say you're the individual proprietor of a comic book shop in your town. You know what I mean? You get all these various comics, and there's all this predatory marketing in terms of ordering going on. To order 5 issues of this, you got to order 10 issues of this. And if you want to order the one variant, you got to order at least 10 issues of the regular cover and blah, blah. It's all this complicated fuckery that's going on. But the numbers that are even on Comicron, even those aren't solid. Those are estimated numbers shipped, as reported through Diamond, if I'm not mistaken. And I have this very strong feeling, like cynical feeling, that all those numbers are fucking lies anyway. The sales numbers are lower than you think they are, and the shipping numbers are even lower than you think they are. I think Marvel's just cranking shit out to crank it the fuck out.
Yeah.
And they're owned by Disney with very deep pockets. So they're just pushing shit out the door to make it look like they've got something happening. If you know anything about the fall of Enron, the massive energy company that fell apart in 2002, this sounds very familiar. Keeping it like, and it's like, oh, come on, Polly, you're making shit up. No, that's exactly how Enron functioned for over a decade. And it was a multi-billion-dollar international conglomerate. They just kept buying new companies, amassing them to keep their stock price up and flowing money in and through the company. They were just cycling money. They would buy their own stuff and then sell their own stuff back to them. So it looked like stuff was happening to keep their stock price high. So how was everyone getting paid? People buying the stock. If the stock price ever dropped, even by like $2, it would start plummeting suddenly because everyone would realize that the company wasn't worth anything. Well, that's exactly what happened. And the company went from being highly valued to being gone in 40 days, from being worth billions to being worth nothing in 40 days because the stock started to fall. That's what happens when you build that bad of a Potemkin village facade. I got the really cynical feeling that's what Marvel Comics is like.
Yeah, I wouldn't dispute that at all. I would say it's probably worse than that, even because a lot of the creative staff don't seem to know what's going on, and they don't seem to have any concept of what they're doing is participating in the death of a company. They seem to think this will go on forever, and I don't think that they realize that them chasing away fans is creating more of the environment that's accelerating this demise.
Right. Right.
They're lighting matches and throwing them around in a gasoline factory.
You want to see what will accelerate demise? Because I said today's New Comic Book Day, right? One of my favorite comic book characters of all time is Silver Surfer. I love Norrin Rad, the Silver Surfer, former Herald of Galactus. Fucking badass, cool character. Oh, look at the new series is out today. Yay. What the fuck?
Isn't it the cover we were making fun of for a while?
Remember?
Yeah.
Yeah. Remember what we were talking about? How does Trad Moore do the art on the inside of the comic like this? Or is this just like a psychedelic cover?
Can I point out that Silver Surfer's right hand is reaching out to probe you because he looks like a gray alien? His left hand's already been up there. That's why it's black. Yeah,
this is Silver Surfer Black, and yeah, it does look like that.
Yeah, that looks hideous.
Look at this. Look at this. I'm just going to leave it on that. I'm just going to leave it on this. This is a giant. This is Marvel Comics talking to me right now. Oh, you like Silver Surfer? Here, taint in your face, Polly. Fuck you.
Yeah, that's right before the teabagging happens.
Yeah.
Of Marvel being like, I got your $5.
This is not how muscles work. What the fuck is going on here?
And say, welcome to being an X-Men fan since 1998, Polly.
Oh, you never suffered like this.
Oh, really?
I've seen X-Men art when it got really bad. It never turned into someone's fucking fevered acid dream like this.
Ryan Walters. He looks like the sperm that came in second place in Once Revenge.
Like, I'm like, new Silver Surfer. Like, this was months ago, right? Oh, yeah. For those of you who don't know, this is our 50th episode, by the way. We've been doing this for 50 episodes now. Yay! And if you haven't already, by the way, feel free to like and subscribe at the bottom. It really does help. And share us on Twitter if you're so inclined. I remember months ago, new Silver Surfer coming out. Hell yeah. Because, and this is what I waited months for. This.
You know what this reminds me of? You take Jim Steranko's Agent of S.H.I.E.L.D., the Nick Fury book that he did back in the 60s, that psychedelic kind of look, and you add that to a cereal box from like 1992, and that's what you get. This sort of abstract, mostly lazy look that they probably put a little bit of work in, and the colors was just like, fuck it, let's make it bright.
And they even dragged in poor Beta Ray Bill. I mean, what'd he ever do to you?
Right?
Why'd you put him in this? I
Why does Cosmic Ghost Rider look like Cosmic Tony the Tiger?
He really does. This is Cosmic Ghost Rider, and he really does look a lot like Tony the Tiger. He's kind of got an old school Dormammu face a little bit too.
Yeah, this is just lazy. It's terrible, abstract. I mean, this guy's art is more designed around like pinup art, in my opinion, like pop art that you would buy at a gallery, not sequential art.
People do not have that many dimples on the sides of their obliques.
That's a hate fact.
This looks like when I'm screwing around with a Photoshop filter just to see what it does.
Oh, that's hideous. Man, it gets worse with every image you show.
It is. It's awful, dude. It
like,
is
do you
awful.
see what I'm? And okay, so chat, $4. Are you? No.
Yeah, that's not even worth the 25 cents from the bin it's going to be in next week.
And this is what I like. Okay, so artists can do different things. I got this weird idea. I want to try this. Experiment is where originality comes from. I'm all for those things. But the people that do so much of the work and are so responsible for the comics that we love are the editors. You know, Jim Shooter, rest in peace. Like, you know,
he's not dead.
Jim Shooter's not dead?
No.
Oh, thank
he's
God.
only like
There's
60
hope.
something.
Oh my God, there's hope.
No.
Hashtag bring back Shooter.
Right? He ran into an Iron Fist, but you know what? Everything came out with strong continuity and it came out on time.
Is Tom DeFalco dead?
I don't know.
This, by the way, chat, this was from like way back in the day when there was like hardcore cigar chomping dudes in charge that wanted something to happen in a particular way and had their feet on the ground and loved imagination, but not whatever you will call this. Like that this slipped past editorial control is what the fuck, man.
This is indie book crap.
Yeah, yes.
In the 80s, this would have been like a $2 book that like 500 people bought. And it'd be a bunch of no-name characters, and it would fall into the underground comic market that where it belongs in like head shops. This isn't mainstream.
And there's nothing wrong with people wanting a trippy weird comic because that's they're into. That's a niche market though. That's a small segment of, like you said, like out of head shops and shit. That's indie shit. That's not, you don't do that out of Marvel. And if you do it on an experimental imprint because, you know, of small runs that you have your head shops listed that you know who you're shipping to kind of thing. Like, you know what I mean? Like you've thought it out.
Trust the glass. If you do a hashtag bring back Shooter might be frowned upon.
No, bring back the real Shooter. We'll go with that one.
Hashtag bring back Shooter. Yeah, hashtag bring back Jim Shooter. That's crucial. I hear you. That's it.
No, I don't think you need to say his first name. You know what? I'll tag in all the Parkland kids.
All right. That got real weird, real fast. Disavow.
Then when I have a nice conversation with the FBI about Jim Shooter, it'll really get weird.
Yeah, man, he was this really good comic editor. He also did pencils, and he worked at both DC and Marvel.
I started writing when he was 13. You know,
why did you tag the people at Parkland?
I wanted them to raise awareness for the comic books.
Yeah, I know, right? They seem to be really good activists, and we want them to be activists for comic books.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, Mike, you brings up a good point. Said Silver Surfer and Jim Morrison. The images you showed would make for like weird psychedelic album covers in the 60s.
Right.
And that's the thing, is that Silver Surfer's already been on an album cover, and it was way better because it was old Silver Surfer.
Mustafa, stop prophesying our doom, okay? I see. This is the thing. There was actually an issue.
And Shooter hashtag grassy knoll.
There was actually a in the proper Silver Surfer volume 3, it would have been Written by Jim Starlin at that time. The ace Starlin, man. That guy's fucking brilliant. He wrote Infinity Gauntlet. The MCU owes him like several dozen $1 million for all of his ideas that he gave them for Infinity War and Endgame. But he wrote Silver Surfer for a long time. And that's where the story of Infinity Gauntlet and Thanos really got started and was developed and then led over to that. He wrote a psychedelic issue that was written psychedelically because Silver Surfer was being mind trapped. He was basically sent to a psychic realm and sort of like forced to willpower endurance his way out of it. So it had a lot of crazy psychedelic imagery in it. It wasn't a whole miniseries pitched with that idea by a crazy crap artist. And you understand what I'm getting at here? It's not like that stuff can't work. It can if it's related to the story, not just somebody's fuckery, you know?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so I have something else that came up. This here it is. That came out brand new this week, which is actually a remake of an old idea. And you wonder how people keep getting work, huh? Okay, here's the blurb from hold on. This is published by Archie Comics. This is the blurb from Archie Comics proper. Brand new series. When Jughead messes up his Riverdale annual bake-off pie recipe so terribly, he is disqualified and banned from all future bake-offs. Jughead goes to unthinkable lengths to fix his error. Time travel. Even Riverdale's most erudite teenager, they're referring to Jughead as most erudite teenager, can't manage the delicate dance of going back in time, and poor Jughead lands himself in an epic battle to keep the time stream intact.
You're selling me. Yeah, go on.
Mike Parlett, Jughead Time Cop.
Well, you crack jokes. How about Jughead Time Police?
Yeah.
You know what that is? That sounds better than anything Marvel's putting out right now.
This is actually an old idea from late 80s. Like, this is not brand new. But you know who's writing this? Cena Grace.
Oh, that means it'll be terrible. Jughead will suddenly be gay.
Like, it's so who's gay is in Riverdale is the first question. For those you don't know, Cena Grace is a, full air quotes here, everyone, writer who keeps getting work. And when I say, like, it's amazing how people keep getting work, no matter how much they fuck up, no matter how bad they do, no matter how awful their track record is, they'll still keep getting work. And it's one of the main comic issues raised by comics gators over and over again. Your boy Zach is particularly pounds away on this one issue. It's a club, and they gatekeep to the club of comic book pros. They're forever talking about how comic book pros need to watch each other's back, et cetera, all kinds of shit like that. Because what that means is that once you're inside, you will always get rehired, and it's very difficult to get into the club. And you better be on Twitter with the right politics. And which one of them was it that sent out that tweet? Even if Donald Trump loses, we'll remember who supported him.
That was Son of Amanat.
No, that wasn't Amanat who said that. That was it was a woman, but it wasn't Amanat who said that. Regardless, major player in the comic book professional field tweeted that out right before the election in 2016. We'll remember who you were. Like, they're keeping a motherfucking list. And what the fuck does presidential politics got to do with writing comics? Because we don't want your kind around here. And they're not shy about saying it. And then they have the nerve to say things like, what are you talking about? We do not gatekeep. There's no bias against conservatives. And I know that's a well-worn thing, but like, I don't care about a bias against conservatives. I care about a bias against everybody but far left progressive liberals.
Oh, it was Alana Smith.
Alana Smith. There you go. Huge player. I mean, amazing that somebody would be willing to tweet that out with the confidence that there would be no clapback or somebody saying to them, Jesus Christ, Alana, you can't write that kind of shit publicly. You did it on your professional Twitter. It's like you're speaking for the company. Of course, nobody said that to her. Comic books and comics gators have been saying this for the longest time. You can go follow any one of them on Twitter. Any other field saying the stuff that these people say, they'd be either delete that tweet and don't ever tweet anything like that again. They'd be getting a talking to. Look how far What's His Nuts had to go. The Star Wars writer calling people prolapsed assholes. What was his name?
Wendig.
Yeah, Chuck Wendig. Chuck Wendig. You should read the tweets that he got before he finally got kicked off Twitter, and then kicked off of the for writing for Disney. Writing the no, it was from
Marvel. It was Marvel.
Was it Marvel that had it, or was it IDW who had the Star Wars license?
It was Marvel.
It was Marvel because
was it?
Yeah, he was writing books for Disney, and he was writing one of the Marvel comics.
Because I knew who Chuck Wendig was, but I wasn't following Chuck Wendig. I just wasn't that interested in the Star Wars books. I just don't do a lot of Star Wars Extended Universe stuff.
Well, they were terrible, so
okay. Well, but I was aware of the guy's existence and that he was a well-known writer. And then I started seeing the tweets this guy was sending out and the amount of followers he had when people were saying, have you seen? And I was like, Jesus Christ, every day screaming and ranting. This guy should have been fired No, this guy should have not been fired. He should have been told, dude, either shut your Twitter down if you can't not call fans prolapsed assholes, or something bad's going to happen. Like, you need to shut your Twitter down, or you need to stop tweeting like that, one or the other, but you can't keep doing what you're doing.
Yeah.
It fucking amazing. So, like I said, small little group of controlled people. Cena Grace is one of them. Cena Grace is gay. Okay, cool. You're gay. But Cena Grace is hired to write the gay characters. Cena Grace is the one who wrote Gay Iceman, for those of you who don't know.
Yeah. Well, created Gay Iceman.
Created Gay Iceman. And it's, Mike Parlett says Kelly Sue. Yeah. Kelly Sue DeConnick. Oh my God. She'll never get fired. She'll always have work. Always have work.
I just wonder if Jughead's going to go back in time to prevent this from happening.
Hold on. Let me present you.
Just saying, This is from what I pitched a while ago, but this is, but before the incident and after the incident.
Yeah, see, what gets me is Archie Comics has been doing some amazing out-of-the-box stuff that you never would have expected from them. And they don't take place in main continuity. So you get, like, the Jughead werewolf story. You get the Archie versus Predator, Archie meets the Punisher. And even this book has potential, but they give it to such garbage writers a lot.
And here's the thing. You can say things so much more succinctly. And I get Archie has gone to some weird places. The Archie horror stuff is very well received. People are loving it. The Riverdale show, people are talking about it. It's great. Oh, so you want to do experimental stuff? Oh, well, how about revisiting this Jughead time traveler thing? Oh, well, give it to Cena Grace. What? The guy that wrote Gay Iceman, it was like pretty much universally panned. It's awful, and it got canceled. So what they do? They relaunched it and gave it to the same guy to write, and it's going to be canceled again for low sales.
What I've noticed is that ever since Archie Comics was hiring Mark Waid to write the main Archie book, which supposedly is pretty good, I haven't read it, they've been hiring in a lot more of these social activist types, and it's really hurting some of their books, because they do have some good books, but you won't know if you pick up one of these garbage writers and you read that, you're like, okay, this is stupid. But like Archie versus Predator was great. Archie meets the Punisher was fun, shockingly. And they've had other ones that are good. Batman 66 meets Archie.
Harley Ivy meet Betty and Veronica. I love
that. Yeah, there's some good stuff out there. So I don't know. I've heard Red Sonja and Vampirella meet Betty and Veronica is not that great, but they lean into these social justice people. That's what they're going to get. And it could really hurt the company because they don't sell a lot of books and they don't produce a lot of titles. So if one starts doing really badly, it could really hurt them.
Yeah.
So we did talk about like things inexplicable things that companies are doing, constantly restarting things. Iceman twice, God, we talked about Captain Marvel being relaunched again and again. I had an idea with these guys of a edited video that I want to do. You can look forward to that on a longtime favorite over here at Comic Book Curation Live, Spider-Gwen. Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider. Let's just read the blurb. Okay. Now, Spider-Gwen number 9, Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider, the name of the series, number 9 just came out today. Okay. Let's read the blurb for number 10. After unmasking herself, waging a war for the fate of the multiverse, and nearly losing her father, Gwen Stacy has had a rough year. And it's not about to get any easier, especially when something's starting to go wrong with the mysterious suit that gives her her abilities. You're a terrible writer if you have to put her twice in a row. I realize it's grammatically correct, but do your job better. Yeah. With no other choice, Gwen finds herself swinging through the skies of the Marvel Universe alongside special guest stars Spider-Man and Spider-Man, and finally embracing an all-new code name. We'll give you 3 guesses. Okay. Back in 2016, they first...
Her new name?
What's that, Jack?
This terrible character, her new name?
No.
Oh.
You'll be able to get it in chat. I know you'll be able to get it too. All we'll do is simply go a little bit chronological here. Okay. Back in 2016, they first got obsessed with this idea of Gwen Stacy and all the things. Okay. So they launched a series called Spider-Gwen. Right. It ran some 30 issues, poor sales, canceled because they were going to relaunch it because new number ones always sell well, right? New excitement, blah, blah, into the Spider-Verse is coming and so forth, right? So they relaunched Spider-Gwen as Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider. Okay. This is the last issue. They're canceling it. Issue number 10. But she's going to take on an all new code name. So she went from Spider-Gwen to Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider. What's the new series going to be called?
Just Ghost Spider.
Just Ghost Spider. The editors, the fuck are you doing?
Making failed properties. That's what they're doing.
Recognize this cover? Of course we recognize this cover. It's the famous Amazing Spider-Man where he's thrown his Spider-Man costume out and he's walking away. Instead, Gwen Stacy's walking to rock it out on the stage.
She's joining Josie and the Pussycats?
Yeah.
No, because that's an Archie franchise.
Hey, we'd be so lucky if she went over to Archie Comics and never came back.
No, don't let her pollute Archie.
So I can't believe it, but they're actually, yes, they really are canceling Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider at issue number 10, and they're relaunching it. Issue number 1 will be out in August. Motherfucker.
Everything's a miniseries now at Marvel. You just can't. They don't let you get attached to a character.
Mike Parlett said gem. That makes a little bit more sense.
Well, we've often talked here on Comic Book Curation Live about the
hell is that? Flowchart?
Yes, it is. This is a down here.
Rotten Corpse said just let it die. They can't do that. They refuse to accept their mistakes and move forward. They will force you to like it by just constantly churning out new editions of it.
I present you, gentlemen and ladies in chat and everybody in chat. This is a list of all current Marvel publications in a conveniently organized spreadsheet. Look at the effort I go through for you, the audience. Anyway, it's not a short list. This is monthly things, monthly stuff that's being published. This is its start dates right here and the volume number that they're at. That's right. Punisher's at volume 12. What the fuck is it volume 10? What would they run that high? Oh, Captain Marvel, of course.
Well, yeah. The fact that it has 8 volumes that only get up to issue 6.
Yeah.
And to sort of back up what you're saying, it's like the premiere issue, when did it start, are all listed right here. And their ending issue, if they're available, are listed right here. So we say 2018, 2018, 2018, 2019, 18, 19, 19, 18, 19, 19. God, you don't let anything run for very long, do you?
No.
Do you see my point?
You know, if they would leave the legacy number on there instead of relaunching with number ones, people would probably hang around longer because at least you would have a loyal core base that would constantly buy it, even if it's a low number. And then you could announce a new writer, new creative team like they used to do. Instead, they go for the quick cash and do the issue ones.
I mean, kind of like what DC does. I mean,
now,
yeah, exactly.
In case you guys thought that this was the list, I haven't started scrolling yet.
oh yeah,
I know.
You're gonna get into like the.
These are the upcomings. That's the main series that they publish currently, which is 40 of them. Man, these are the upcoming series that they have coming out. There's Ghost Spider, ready to start August 19th. But they've got this many series already slated to get started. There's going to be more. If you don't think they're pitching more new ongoing series that are going to turn out to actually be limited series in the next couple of months, no, that's no. It's coming. These are the limited series that they have running currently that they're willing to admit are limited series. Old Man Quill, Meet the Skrulls. Remember that shit? I can't believe that's not dead yet. God, that garbage. We made fun of it 3 months ago.
Oh yeah.
I
still just as bad.
Look at all the War of the Realms crap. Wolverine Infinity Watch. What is that? I don't even know what that is.
Oh, that fills in the gap between the Return Wolverine and the Infinity thing they did a year ago.
Infinity Watch? Is it like, they put all of the Infinity Stones into a tasteful piece of wristwear?
No, that would be original. They don't do that.
For a while, okay, like after Infinity Gauntlet, the Infinity Gems were not allowed by the Living Tribunal to work in unison together anymore because they can't be destroyed. In the MCU they were destroyed, but in the Marvel Comics universe, you can't really destroy them. They'll simply reform because they're a concentration of power, not an actual physical item. So if you destroy it, they'll just reform. You see what I'm saying? So it's the Living Tribunal, this ultimately powerful cosmic being, judge of the multiverse, decided that they can't be used to work in unison anymore. End of the threat. But to make sure that something different didn't happen, they were given to Adam Warlock, who ended up splitting them up amongst his teammates, called the Infinity Watch. Each one of them had one to make sure that each one was individually protected. So that's where that name comes from. And somehow Wolverine ended up on the Infinity Watch somehow.
No, he didn't end up on it. He formed it. It's a new thing. They take old ideas and recycle them. That's what happened here, is my understanding. I didn't read any of it because it's trash. The art is horrific too. And
here are the limited series that are upcoming: Death's Head, Fearless, History of the Marvel Universe, House of X, Invisible Woman, Powers of X. Because we already heard about Hux and Pox, right?
The House of X and
and it's like limited series upcoming. There's Silver Surfer Black. Oh, and what a gem that was, huh, guys? Jesus. And I love this one above it: Punisher, Kill Crew, spelled with a K. Fuck yeah. Okay, whatever. I'm actually going to read Hawks and Pucks, House of X and Powers of X, because they're relaunching the mutants. I'm optimistic. When we read it week before last, or was it last week, what they're thinking of doing by relaunching all the mutant titles and starting clean, sounded like there was some editorial control going on there. I'm very cautiously optimistic.
Okay, I'm looking at the cover of Punisher Kill Crew.
Cool.